Now, please let me move to the main part of this online event. So we move to his first speaker. Before we invite our first guest to this virtual stage, moving to the first guest that we have today, which is Osmund Moll Frengstad from Meshcraft, Norwegian company. We're going to talk about charging from a Norwegian perspective, but it will be interesting. I've seen the presentation before, and Osmund is going to talk about why is changing fuel so much more than just changing fuel, and that's really interesting thought. So, Osmund, if you're ready, go for it.
So, hi, I'm Osmund Moll Frengstad, the founder of Meshcraft, a Norwegian technology provider for e-mobility. So, first, short about the company. So we were established in 2013 while I was still studying. We're about 7 employees, and we are fully certified for the open standard of communication between chargers and a back office system, meaning that we can actually talk to any chargers out there and know that it's working. We are already operating in about 5 countries, and we're growing with approximately 200% each year. If we take that down to numbers, that means we are already operating about 7,500 charge points in Norway. We have 20,000 active users on our mobile application every month, and we support about 40 different types of chargers. And we like to say that we already saved the planet for about 6 million kilograms of CO2 each year. We have this product in the market, which allows owners of charging stations to actually communicate and do business with EV drivers, as well as communicating and do business with the power grids and power companies. So it's a cloud-based system, which basically allows anyone to control the charging stations, decide how much money they would like to have for the charging, and of course have a charging app for the end user. So we like to say that a turnkey solution for e-mobility needs to function for all the different stakeholders. So you have big companies like charge point operators, which would be like a gasoline station or somebody who wants to do business on charging, as well as the people actually owning a building which the chargers are attached to. In Norway, we see the biggest market is in the apartment buildings and the municipalities, because that's where people live and people work. And we need to have a system that actually connects all of these together. So for us, a way of ensuring e-mobility to go forward is operation excellence, and it needs to be customer centric, because changing from from a fuel-based car to electric car is a huge step, even though it got 4 wheels. It needs to be scalable. It needs to think about energy, because energy is the same as pollution or less pollution, and it needs to be flexible to actually function in all the different types of markets that is going into. So, going to Norway, you see 4 graphs here. In 2010, there was about 1,000 EVs in Norway. So we started the revolution back in 1990s with the Norwegian pop band a-ha and an NGO called Bellona that really tried to fight for EVs, and they made sure that it was toll-free to drive on the road, but nothing really happened. But in about 2013, 2014, there was a lot of new vehicles coming ahead, and you can see that more people started to buy the EVs, and we got really good incentives. So last year, we almost reached 500,000 electric vehicles in Norway. That includes the hybrids. And already this year, we have surpassed 500,000 EVs, most thanks to the new cars coming. And we're all looking forward to when Skoda is actually delivering lots of cars. I wanted one myself, but couldn't get one before September, so I ended up with a Volkswagen instead. But you see that there's a massive growth, and most people are using the EV as their main car, which for 4 or 5 years ago, people wouldn't think and dream of doing. That means from 2016, there was about 3.6% electric cars of the whole car fleet in Norway. Now we've surpassed 12.69, and over 50, almost 55% of all new cars is a pure battery electric car in Norway when people are buying, which is amazing. So, what is the main issue with electric cars? I like to say it from an EV driver, what is my main concerns? And I like to divide this into two. Before EV became the main type of car in Norway, all people buying electric car was afraid of range anxiety. How far can I go with my electric vehicles? The fires from electric vehicles, is that dangerous? And is there enough fast chargers I can go to and charge? And how is the queue system working? And of course, back in those days, we also had another problem. How is the physical connector between the car and the charging station? Will it fit my car? These was things that was diminishing the value of EVs and prohibiting the new owners to actually acquire a car. Within the last years, now the battery has become so good, so you can go 400 or 500 kilometers on one charge. And we have proven that there's more fires from a diesel or gasoline car than it's from a battery electric car. So people are not that afraid. And the more electric vehicles coming along, the more charging station it is. But we still have a queue system, but I will come back to why that's not a problem. And of course, the industry has decided to go forward with a standardization on the actual connector. So every new car in Norway now has the same AC adapter and the same DC adapter, which makes it so much easier to do, so that people are not afraid to go electric, because it's like a gas or gasoline or diesel filling station. They both fit. So, but what is the main concern for the EV drivers today? So today we are more afraid of actually getting to a charging station that can deliver the energy than how far we can go. This can easily be solved by having smart infrastructure that can communicate. So then it's all about getting the right data to the right users. And there are lots of good stuff happening there. Many providers do so-called roaming, which allows different charging networks to get the information about the charger, so that the EV driver knows that it's an available charging station that will deliver the charging I need when I get there. The next concern, this might be a very Norwegian perspective, but most Norwegians are very, very keen on going to their cabin and back without having to stop for fuel. I think that is a hilarious way of looking at it, because they usually stop to buy wine or food on the way to the cabin anyway. But this is the modern way, or the new way of looking at range anxiety. They want to have a hassle-free trip, and then stop having to stop for charging is for some a bigger hassle than it has to be, even though most electric vehicles, new ones today, you probably charge half the car in about 10 to 15 minutes. The next one is, can an electric vehicle pull a trailer? In Scandinavia, a lot of people have trailers, and we love them, and we want to take them out everywhere. So this is one of the main questions new users, new EV drivers have when they are about to acquire an EV. And many of the new EVs can pull trailers, not necessarily really big ones, but enough to fit most people's needs. And then the super hard question: what charger do I need at home? Meaning, am I allowed to just charge with a normal household socket, or do I need to buy new equipment? I would strongly suggest to buy equipment, but this is up to a national regulation. But to make sure that we have a good system, having a digital interface would be very swell. So that leads us to the big change of actually going into electric vehicles. So instead of going to a destination to get energy, an EV driver would charge where they are, and the car stands still for almost 23 hours a day, is usually either at home or at work. And you have a household socket usually at home, but we suggest getting a proper charging station. And most people started to think that EVs was a secondary car, but in Norway now we see that most people owning an EV use it as their primary car, and it's great to commute with. So you see, going back and forth to Oslo every day, there is a lot of EVs. EVs have more space usually inside than a gasoline car, especially the ones that is designed for being an electric vehicle, like the new Skoda. And of course, people are very concerned about the quality of vehicles. And with the new generation of EVs, we see that the quality match or surpasses their petrol brothers, and that means a lot of more people would like to buy one. One of the greatest problems is everybody wants charging speed, but no one wants to pay for it. A supercharger costs a lot of money, just not buying the hardware, but also to install it and upgrade the grid. And that comes back to why smart charging and grid capacity is so important. Having infrastructure that is able to adjust the load at certain times means we can have a larger amount of charging stations without having to increase the capacity of the grid, which costs a lot of money, and also reduces the cost of charging for the EV drivers, because charging when the electricity is cheap, because it's a lot of extra capacity, means that they don't have to pay a lot of money to charge the car. And usually this matches up with when they're home or at work and when the prices is low. I'll show you here as an example. This is a normal Norwegian home. On the top, you will see the graph of how it's done without being smart. Everything above the blue line costs a lot of money. But with doing it smart, having infrastructure that understands something, then we can divide the amount of energy they need of the whole day, and then we can reduce the peaks and ensure that we have good quality energy at the time when you need it without the high cost, which we show down here. And this here is just to show you how it's done at home. On the top, it's a normal Norwegian household with a normal Norwegian charging. And at the bottom, it's a normal Norwegian home with normal Norwegian charging divided throughout the day. If you surpass the yellow line, you use more than 80% of the capacity of the grid, which can result in failure. If you surpass the red line, things go south and your power goes out. So what we do is helping each individual charging station optimize within these boundaries to ensure the quality is there and the cost is low, so they can earn some money when they sell out charging to EVs that's not there. So I would like to thank you for the opportunity to talk to you, and if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer. Thanks.
Thank you, Osmund. It was really interesting to see the concerns of Norwegian EV users. For example, the traveling back and forth to a cabin without need to charging. That's very interesting. I'm actually half Norwegian in that way, because I'm borrowing my first EV today, and I need to go to my cabin in mountains. So hopefully I will get back and forth. But let me ask a question which came up through Slido. What, and I hope I didn't miss it within your presentation. But what does your app exactly offer to the end user, to me as a driver?
So the app we have created is app can do navigation, can do payment, can do access management, history. So you can all the things you would need as an EV driver, knowing in real time how much you're charging, how much you have charged, where can I find the chargers I can use with this app, how do I get there, how much did I charge last month, or if you like, from December to April, and you can get all this information. So you have all the history there.
Yeah, because like for me, I would add some other concern to your list. Because for me, right now I'm thinking about buying an EV or a hybrid car, and I'm basically counting money if it's like sustainable or economically sustainable for me. And the biggest concern for me is exactly that, like how much is it going to cost me when I'm going to charge at home? Because when you charge on some public charging station, you can see that you can see how much you've spent.
So for us, it would not be a problem to show you how much it costs at home, but unfortunately, I don't know your electricity price yet, so it's hard for me to tell you how. But based on the numbers you will get from us, and you can also put in your cost in the dashboard, you will get this number out straight away, so it's easy for you to have control. So if energy is cost less than petrol, I would assume in Czechia it also will be cheaper to own and operate an EV in the longer run.
Yeah, the other question is like basically cooperation, like within the third part or third apps like yours and the automotive companies. Like what do you think is the future? Because like for me as a user, I for example don't use even the built-in navigation in cars, because I have my phone with me all the time, and I think at least I don't need the the built-in app or the built-in navigation in the car. How is it going to be with these apps, with these, let's say, charging apps? Is it going to be like on our mobile phones? Is it going to be one day built in the cars?
Yeah, so that is a very good question. I like to say that people should stick to what they're good at. So Tesla is very good at software. Skoda and Volkswagen is very good at building cars. But with Google Play and Apple Play, it's possible to add these apps into the car's infotainment system in a larger way. But there is also a standard coming where the car itself communicates with the charger, so we can identify the unique charger. So lots of these things would be better, but you should ask the car producers when they will start using an open source navigation system, and then we might be able to give them more information, so this would work more in the way you like.
Thank you for that. Okay, Osman, thank you for your presentation. Thank you for your time. It was very interesting.
Thank you for having me.